Welcome to Tuesday morning. It's kind of weird because I'm like, oh, I'm the speaker, so welcome to the speaker. Hi. Thank you for coming this morning. I know it's a miserable day, but it's beautiful because we need rain, and we've had some beautiful sun over the weekend, so it's lovely to get this beautiful rain. So let's be grateful for that. For the coffee machine, is everyone grateful for the little coffee machine? Yes. So they're trialling it. They've had a beautiful barista come in as a volunteer, and they're trialling it. So we're going to try the next couple, and then I think in the new year they'll start asking you to pay. Just not a model to get the coffee, and I did tell them to charge you, but they wouldn't. Sorry. So our breakfasts, and I'll get straight into it, but our breakfasts are proudly supported by Beyond Bank. They do some amazing work. If you haven't had coffee with Kylie, you need to, because she loves coffee. I will give it over to her.
To be inspirational.
There's some big words.
Kylie, you can brand that. Kylie.
Kylie, look at you. I think you've just given me a
You need to
tag.
brand that.
Oh, it's coming. Recording, everybody. Thank you, Grace. And yeah, we're really proud to support the breakfast series for not-for-profit. We definitely, as an organisation, love to work with building capacity, and many in the room are quite privy to that. But if anyone has ever wondered the impact that their banking does on the community, then you need to talk to a customer-owned bank such as Beyond Bank. We return around 9.5% of our net profits back to community organisations. So your home loan has a direct impact on homelessness or on a disability or on those living with dementia. So if you've ever wondered how you can reimagine your own banking and how it can contribute back to the community, I would encourage you to do coffee with Kylie, coffee with Kay. And I'm really excited about Payroll Giving because we have a version of Payroll Giving, but I'm looking for some insights today. So hopefully everyone else here in the room who are looking for payroll giving providers eventually can talk to us as an option. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Can I have my presentation, please? So interesting for you, 33% of taxpayers make a donation and claim a deduction. So there's just a few little facts. The typical giver is a 46-year-old female. So when you're thinking about how you target market, do you know about target market? So the people that you call on to try and find donations from. And it's more likely that a woman is going to donate than a man, and to partake in volunteering. So ladies, we're up. No, but we're more conscious. Your charity must have DGR status to receive payroll giving deductions. With Newcastle, what I've discovered is a lot of organisations don't have payroll giving, or it's very, very outdated. There's a really good opportunity for us to go in and revamp and reinvigorate and support this for employees and employers, because the employee business chooses a charity they would like to partner with. The employee pays the donation directly to the charity or via the platform. Workplace giving does not affect the way employees' gross income, super guarantee payments, or how fringe benefits are worked. There's no minimum or maximum contribution. And at the end of the financial year, the employee has to provide a letter to the employee to say that they've donated this amount of money. So that's just a couple of facts to get your head around what the employer needs. And that's really what it is, because a lot of organisations don't really know what they need to do. And there's this sort of this misguided understanding of how hard it might be. And so it can be quite easy, but you've got to make it easier for them, which is kind of what I'm trying to do here. The consulting part of NFP Connect is what's called a community impact program. So I go into businesses and help work out who and how they give back to charities. And one of the major ones that I've done was Newcastle City Council, but I've done a couple of others. So I interviewed 348 staff members at Newcastle City Council, but around 452 I've interviewed. So individual staff members to understand what their giving looks like. So the questions that I give them is, if your organisation was to establish a payroll giving program, would you be inclined to donate? So 98 out of 450 say yes, 72 said no, depends on the charity, so I've got that option, and 125 of those 440 says I already give to charities regularly. So just thinking about that, there's different types of donors. So there's people that just want to set and forget, and here I'll give it to you and that's fine. That's where the regular giving comes in, and the workplace payroll giving can come in for you if you want to understand and know how to do that. So there's people that want to be invested, and then there's people that just want to hear, I'm passionate about this, that makes me feel good about myself, I'm not really doing too much. Does that make sense? And so you've got to, when you're working with people and employers or businesses, you've got to understand there's different levels of people that want to be engaged in the organisation. And for your organisation, it's about you setting up all the different avenues so that you can bring that different income in to whatever level. Sometimes we're so passionate about it, we think everyone else should be as passionate, and it's not the case. So there's some people you just want to take their money because they just like want to feel good. Done, we're good. And I know that sounds really harsh, but that's part of it. And then there's people that don't want to give it all. You know, no, I don't want to give. I don't care. It's not a priority for me. And they have other priorities, and they might have young families. So if you looked back at that stat before, it was 46-year-old women. Their kids are probably a little bit older. They're not worried about finances as much. They've probably got a bit more established. They're just working, so they have that ability to give more or think about giving. There's a difference, and I know this is like 101, but workplace giving is a holistic approach. So when we're using the language, and payroll giving is the actual just payroll. When you're talking about payroll giving, you're just talking about taking income from a payday to payday. When you're looking at workplace giving, it's a holistic approach. Volunteering, skills contribution, all that sort of stuff. So just to clarify that definition, that when you're looking at it, they're different things, and a workplace will probably more look at the workplace giving, whereas when you're going in for payroll, you're just talking to HR and the person that does payroll. Businesses can choose to give to your organisation through the following initiatives: payroll system, so straight from their payroll system to your organisation, pooled and matched, and I've got an example of that, and then external platforms. So through the payroll system, what you need to supply is your name of your charity, your ABN, your address, your bank account details. So if you can help them provide, give them that information so that it makes it easier. Basically, you want to walk in and go, here's everything that you need to add me to your payroll giving list. I know that we've had organisations where the payroll giving system's 10 years old, they've been donating to the same people, and nothing's changed. And that's because an organisation went in 10 years ago and they're still getting the money from that. You know, so there's that set and forget, but we are changing in the way that we're doing things, so you've got to be mindful of the change and moving into a new way of thinking. For the organisation, through a payroll system, you want to give them graphics, email banners, social media, email wording, flyers, nothing too wordy and heavy. So here are a couple of examples of things that you could give infographics to the organisation to help them. You want to make it as easy as possible for the workplace, because they're busy doing payroll or they're busy doing HR and they don't have time. So whatever you can provide them in the way of email wording, of launch wording, all that sort of stuff, if you're going to do it offline and on your own, straight to the organisation, as opposed to if you're going to do it through a platform, that's different. Any questions? No? Must be doing a good job. So pooled funds. When I was at Leukemia Foundation, the day that I left, I got a call from Jason Burke, who was at the Newcastle Permanent, to say that that our charity had been nominated for the Employee Benefit Program. So instead of payroll giving, they actually pool their funds into so they've got different various ways to give, but this particular thing is where they pool their funds and then they dollar match. So I also found that Tomago Aluminium do it as well. They call it out of pay donation scheme. So an organisation can pool their funds and then the corporate can dollar match, and then the employees will nominate at the end of the year who they want to give that money to. So it's just a different way of thinking it, and if you can find organisations that do that, then you want to apply for that, because I got $20,000 from Leukemia Foundation and I put an application in and said this is what we would use the money for. That's just a different way that people engage, or employees engage, employers engage in workplace giving. This is a bit exciting. So just a different way of looking at things, and I'm just kind of opening your brain into there's things coming. So Westpac Group and the Centre of Social Impact have named Good to Give, which is one of the platforms, Partners for Giving so-called work trials. So it's basically where a group of people come together and then give a certain amount of money and then donate So what they're doing is they're trialling workplace giving circles at workplaces. Also Newcastle, they come together every month. Each person has $100 and donates $100, and then 3 people will pitch for that money, and then they will get $1,000. So do you know about Also Newcastle? Okay, good. So that's a giving circle, but it's sort of starting to come to play. But there's now a research project that's happening around the benefits and if this is going to work, which is a bit exciting. I woke up at 1 a.m. I was saying that I'll do research and then I'll wake up on like Tuesday giving, like it's insane. So or Giving Tuesday. Has anyone heard the Giving Tuesday hashtag? Tuesday Giving, Giving Tuesday. So there's a worldwide global initiative that's Tuesday Giving or Giving Tuesday. It's a hashtag, and so there's a Giving Tuesday Australia, but it started in the States, and so on December the 3rd is our Giving Tuesday. So there's a couple of organisations who have got it set up that they're ready to go, and so that's an opportunity where you could get in the door, where you could provide the business with we're participating in Giving Tuesday, would you like to get involved? You've got to set yourself up to be prepared for that. So it's a global initiative, it already exists. There's a Giving Tuesday Australia, so that's an option, and it's on the 3rd of December. So platforms, a lot of these platforms do multiple things, and they cost different money depending on the multiple things. So Bonojo is free for charities. They use Stripe, which there's a relationship with Stripe, which is like a PayPal. Stripe is a different version of PayPal, but basically the platform, to get onto the platform, is free. It costs the business about $6 per person, and this is what you've got to think about when you're looking at platforms and when you want to participate in a platform or pay to be on a platform. Who's on there for you that you can benefit from? The Bonojo has a payroll giving arm. You can get on there, you register as a charity for free. The funds come out of the business, but they also do volunteering, they do events. So it's not just a payroll giving platform, so there's multiple uses. But Good Company is another one, $300 per annum plus GST for a charity, and the cost to the business is modular. What the benefit of Good Company is that they actually can do sponsorship. So I need a sponsorship for this event. I need volunteers for this. I need, so they're doing, and they do like gift cards. So we need gift cards. So there's lots of options from a Good Company to participate and build relationships on various levels. So they promote all that on their website and then link you with people in the community. Bonojo and Good Company don't have a lot of organisations in Newcastle that are partnered with them, and that's the other thing that you need to think about, is who are the organisations that they're partnered, that have relationships. But I'm trying to build both parts. So Good to Give was previously CAF. So the CAF was the original payroll giving organisation. Back of old days, it's 100 years old, 100 plus years old. 270, I think it's 270, 279 plus a sliding scale. So if over $5,000 you get charged per like a percentage, and then over $10,000 you get charged another percentage. So if you're under $5,000 you only get the 270. So that was the platform that Newcastle City chose in the end, because they just wanted to do payroll giving, whereas the other ones were more beneficial if you wanted the other elements. Workplace giving is it's called WGA. It's a bit of an anomaly. It says it's a not-for-profit. It says it's government funded. It's part of 1 million donors. And it's an amazing website for information and resources, but they're part of this $1 million workplace giving initiative. And so it's Workplace Giving Australia was Australian Charities Fund. So to me, it doesn't look like it does anything. And when I tried to call them, they didn't answer. But it's there, and it's a really good resource of information. So how to give up for both sides.
Am I boring you? No. Okay.
So can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah, I love dumb questions.
So, just say, for example, I'm just trying to look at it on both sides here, like for example, a charity like Homes Connect, who doesn't really have anything set up in terms of what to give, and they have people that, the tax office have a group of people that every year they get together, make donations or whatever. So for that, an organisation like that too, when you say you've got to find corporates or people that have this stuff implemented.
Yep.
How does it find these corporations and then say?
Here's one I prepared earlier. So I don't know if you can see this slide because it looks like it's a bit, but getting into the fact of you've got to work out what's your plan of attack with regards to raising money. So this slide is all about, there's different funding and arms and energy. So you've got so much energy and resources to where you want to, where your organisation can go and where your organisation can best gain and give to relationships. Because it's now about that give and gain. It's not just about, here, you give this money and we're good. You've actually got to give back. I use in a lot of my strategy stuff, but trust and foundation. So, and I mean, you know this stuff, but it's just kind of trying to clarify for you where you want to put your focus. So trust and foundations are usually tied. So that's your NIB, your greater foundation and different things like that. So those are tied funds. So do you know about tied and untied funds? So tied funds are where they have to go to a specific thing that you said that you were going to roll out program. Untied funds are where the donation comes in and there's no reason or rule for where it needs to go. So someone's giving you money, they love your cause, full stop. You can play with that and do whatever you want with that. So you've got to figure out your ratio of tied to untied. So tied is good because people are asking you now for more, like as in a corporate is asking you to show the impact that you'll have and for the cause and what's happening. So that's where we're going, whereas before we've come out of a very untied funds, you can do whatever you want with it, we trust what you're doing. The trust for organisations has changed, and there's also a lot of organisations, charities that now are vying for that dollar. But I'm also about, and I've spoken about this before, is we're not in competition and we all have criteria that is specific to us as an organisation. So when I was at Canteen, it was T-shirts and jeans. When I was at Leukemia's Foundation and Royal Institute for Deaf and Blind Children, it was suits. So my target market was completely different depending on which way I wanted to go. So I would then focus my specific strategy on how I was going to gain funds towards that target market. So where I might have gone lots of money and the payroll giving and the bandanas and a little bit of money from a lot of people. When I went to Royal Institute for Deaf and Blind Children, it was like a lot of money from little less because you invested more time in that high-end donor. So trust and foundations, high mid-level donors can be tied and untied. Bequests, it's a really untapped, it takes a bit of time, but it's a really untapped area that can really pay off and change an organisation. So I got a bequest for 2.6 million. It should have been 3.8. And then another organisation, a small organisation in Sydney, got the other half, and they had no idea. They'd never met the guy, and it completely changed their organisation. So they went from a $250,000 organisation to a $2.6 million one donation. And they had to then work out, well, we've never lived like this. How do we manage that? So thinking long term, and you have to think long term now. 3-5 years down the track, what does it look like? What kind of income do you want? So from your Hannah Homelessness Connect, payroll giving would be a great thing because people can get involved in it, but you've got to give them the options. So when you're setting up the different avenues of ways in which people can give, they can give their time, they can give their skills, they can give their money. Well, how do they give their money?
Where do you find the corporates to do that? Like, it's just a charity. How do you know who's employing this payroll giving? How do you know which corporates are doing it?
Oh, talk to your donors. Sorry. So talk to your already donors first, and I'll go through that. Payroll giving, untied direct mail, telemarketing, social enterprise. People should start kind of getting into that whole, doing things and getting like consulting or using their services to get money and bring money in, because you can trade service. Here you go. Is this what you're asking? Maybe? Do you like my little graph? Made it myself. No. Okay. So here's where you start. What's your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing? So your story. Everyone needs a story. They need a capital campaign. They need to work out why you're doing what you're doing, and they want to be able to give to that. Build your budget. It's so underestimated and people don't think about it, but it's really important because the other thing with budgets are when you don't think about it, you don't know what's possible. And so you really underestimate what you can bring in because you don't put a budget towards it or you don't think about that. You don't have to necessarily get it, but over a 2, 3, 4 period, you're like, okay, I want to have what was the $10,000, I want to be in $50,000 in 3 years' time. How are we going to do that? What are the different avenues? So like plans A, B, and C. Define your campaign. So the thing that corporates are looking for now is the impact measurement. And so you really need to be able to define the campaign or define where that money is going to go to. So at LF, it cost $10 per car taxi ride to take a patient. At Royal Institute, there were varying levels of donorship would get education for a student. So it might be they might get an iPad, or they might get books, or they might get toys. And so I broke down specific things that were manageable, that they could that were attainable, and I'll show you some examples. So defining your campaign is really, especially around the payroll giving, is like, what's $2 going to do? What's $5 going to do? What's $10 going to do? So it just gives them that image. The thing that we don't really, I think about is that sometimes, and I've worked this out with the community impact program and interviewing employees, some people don't even think about it. They don't even think about, so I'll tell you a story. I went to an organisation and they said, we've done this online survey and this is what the results of the charities that they want to give to. So one was blood bank, one was camp quality, one was environment. Let's start with that. So blood bank used to drive down the driveway. Camp quality, one of the guys used to ride in the bike. And environment, they were an engineering company. So that's who they chose to give to. Oh, Westpac Rescue, because I already had a pro bono relationship with them. That's who they chose. So when I did the interviews and asked them specifically what they wanted to give to, it was mental health, it was animal welfare, mental health because a couple of them had lost someone to suicide, animal welfare because they were quite passionate, LGBT community, and environment they wanted to stick with because they're engineers. So it's triggering their thoughts about how they can give back. That's our aim. As fundraisers, we've got to trigger something in them that punches them in the heart that says, yes, I want to give to that. And I know that sounds really harsh, but it's just in their day-to-day life, they might not necessarily think about it. So what you're trying to do is you'll get the people that you're passionate about and passionate about your cause and have been impacted by it, but then there's a whole bunch that might just see it driving on a bus and they'll go, oh, I'll just give to that. Oh, I want to do something that's, oh yeah, no, there was another situation where I say, hey, what would you like to give, or have you been impacted by anything in the questionnaire? And they're like, no. And then I've got a list of types of organisations and they say, oh, heart disease, I had a heart operation when I was 18. Like, they're not even thinking about it. So you're triggering in them what it is, and so therefore you're also reminding them through the feedback and support that you give them on what's important or why. Does that, yeah? Vision a client journey. If I'm going to give to you, I won't necessarily, and I've just said that, I won't necessarily think about it, but what if you could envision the client journey and then make it easier for them? If you don't think about it, they're not going to think about it. So what does it look like? How are you going to get a client in the door, a donor in the door? How are you going to build the relationship? So if you can get them in the door, you've got their attention, you can then show them the other things that you want. And then and you can also identify areas that you might need, and then they would then get engaged in that. So the amount of times that a donor came in or a corporate came in, and then the relationship changed and built because you got to know that. So you're not trying to build this whole relationship. Payroll giving is very much let's get an introduction. It's really simple, it's really easy, but here's what we can do. Because I can guarantee that every one of you would say to me, Grace, no one knows who we are. Maybe not all of you, but a lot of the time charities no one knows who we are, they don't know what we do. I say this and they don't know. And so it's just creating that awareness and that visual for them and building that relationship. Identify potential corporates. So hot and cold list. So hot list is your donors. So, you know, each one of your donors that work in an organisation, ask them what their payroll giving's like. How does your payroll giving work? What does it look like? You know, is there a way we can get on the list? If you've got a really good relationship, that's a hot list. And I'm kind of intertwining business with this because this is what we've got to start thinking about. And it's not a blasphemy or whatever, but that's your warm list. Even if you're doing direct marketing, they'll say warm list, hot, you know, the mail, direct mail. So your warm list are your people that already give, that are passionate. So, and then they will then influence the rest to build your relationships. Create marketing material. I'll show you a couple of examples of that. So, you know, your flyer, your social media tags, you know, images and different things that just make it easier for them. Because you want to just set it up. Here's a set, like here, have that. Approach the business and then manage a client care plan. One of the biggest things that we don't do well is manage clients and our donors with a love, like a love fest. So it's on that, like that customer journey. If you could create a customer care plan from that, or donor care plan. I don't mean to say customer, but donor care plan. So I had a donor care plan for all my donors. What was their journey? What if they're going to meet me? I'm going to do that. I'm going to give them a phone call. I'm going to send them a card. If they donate, I'm going to deliver a receipt. You know, what are they interested in? And I had the most incredible experiences learning and knowing about those people. So what's your customer care plan? Donor care plan. Sorry, I don't need to. And do you have one? And if you don't, get one for whatever you're doing right now in any way, shape or form, because that's how you're going to keep your donors. So I had a gentleman who used to give to us and his wife got really sick and he's like, oh, look, I'm sorry, but we're not going to be able to give us anymore. And so with no expectation, and I wasn't expecting him to come back, I had a child's picture and I wrote his wife's name on it. And I hope this makes you feel better because she had cancer. He kept giving. So he's like, Grace sent me this lovely thing. He goes, thank you so much for your beautiful picture. There was no expectation. Thank you so much for your beautiful picture. My wife really loved it. It brought a smile to her face. We're going to continue to give $50 a month. It's just, can you see? And we don't think about it. And it's just really important. Because it then becomes something bigger. That's the other thing. So whilst it's just this at the moment, you know, we have this expectation that we need to get all this money right now for this thing, but it's about building those relationships with the resources that you have. That's the other thing, because that's different too. So basic research, Google other people's payroll giving programs, platforms, have a look, have some meetings, have coffee with the donors, have coffee with businesses that you're already working with, ask them. I always used to go in as an idiot. Can you talk to me about this and how does this work from your perspective? I'm trying to learn about payroll giving, I don't really know. Can you tell me how it works? What would you need? How hard is it? All that sort of stuff. Build your story, that's really important so that they can see what they're giving to and why. Create giving options. So the fascinating part of the payroll giving study that I've done is that most people came out of $2 a pay every fortnight. So they're now sitting up to $5 to $10. You know, we've sort of stepped up a notch. So we might go in with a $2 pay thing, but they might be willing to give $5. And they don't even see it and they don't even know that it's gone. Rule 101. If you don't give it to your organisation, don't ask other people to do it. That was the first thing that I ever did when I went into an organisation. As a fundraiser, I would set myself up for my own payroll giving. Because if I'm asking others to give to me and want their respect, and don't underestimate the value of how you think money is to how someone else thinks money is. So what I think $1 million is so different to the person that has $20 million. So your perception of money is going to keep you at a level that you think you're worth. Update your website, that's really important. Just have a page where you've got those options, the different types of things that people can give to, because they'll go to your website, they'll look and they'll be like, oh, I can't donate. Oh well, too hard. Create a business pack. probably do all that before you get to the exciting creating a business pack and making it all pretty. I think people get into the creative and like to create, but they don't know. You just want to kind of make it work first before you kind of go in. Execute your campaign, and then monitor and adjust. It might not work the first time around. You might need to tweak your story, your journey, how you look after or how you approach clients. Are we bored yet? So here's the thing, $5 times 26 weeks is $130. $5 times 50, which would be 10 corporates at 5 people in the corporates, is $6,500 a year. And 5,000 at 100 is 13,000 a year, and you can go up from that. So also break it down with your journey. Break down how much you want to get, how many businesses you want to approach, how much would you think. So on a payroll giving, you kind of want to base from an employer's perspective 30% take-up rate if you want to really establish your payroll giving program. So what does that look like for you? So, you know, what does 13,000, it's 100 over, and if you keep building and people talk about it, yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
So basically, you have to have a platform set up.
Yeah.
Or- and advertise on your website.
Yep, sorry. Yep. So here's a platform. Here's one I did not prepare earlier, but is really awesome. FRRR have a great, so you can get on the platform and that makes it easier, and they've got certain things that they'll help you with. So FRRR, this is their payroll giving page. So if you just scroll down, if we can. So, back up, sorry. So there's workplace giving, how it makes a difference, how much you should give. Just $5, 260 years can have a big impact. Here's what it does. Helps 5 children. Go down. I'll send this through to you, Viv. Employees can make a big difference. So they all love a good infographic. Really indicates why. 5 reasons you should give. We can reach community groups that often access tax rigorous or grants recipients have to report back on how they use the money. So, you know, the impact that it will have. Workplace giving. So this is a pack, their pack. So if you go up and it's in a PDF, you can see it, it's quite clever. So register your interest, workplace giving. Review ATO work guidelines. So they've got real instructions on if you don't know what to do, here's how you do it. So that PDF is quite explanatory. And then FRRR is registered with these platforms. So Good to Give and Good Company. They show you where they do, so you can get it from a workplace giving. And then tax tactics. So then there's this whole instructions. So here you go, just go to FRRR and copy that, because it's just really explains to the organisation how that works, you know, and then you can, you know, use it in your social media and all that sort of stuff. Keep going down. I don't think there's anything. Oh yeah, so this is, so go up. So this summary is employee needs to have a payroll system, or they can go to Good to Give and then they go over here and they've just got this. It's just amazing. And then here's related links. ATO worksite, Workplace Giving Australia, Good to Give, Good Company, 1 million, which is all the ones I just talked about. So that's a really great example of a website of a charity, FRRR. Does everyone know about FRRR? Fundraising for regional? If you don't, you need to. So they're basically funders. So we use them for the Hunter Corporate Collective to siphon the money. So because I'm not a not-for-profit, the money had to go into an organisation from the different types of organisations. Beyond Bank, there were 7 of them, went through FRRR. They monitored and managed the relationships with the recipients in Scone and Muswellbrook. And then so they were our conduits between the organisations and the charity. But they give lots of money, and they have so government basically gives them corporates, mass corporates gives them money, and then they allocate accordingly, and you can apply to them for grants. And it's regional, so it has to be regional.
I think I'm done now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that answer? Yeah. Okay. Yes, Viv.
Just a comment, not really a question, but you know, we're a charity, but I don't spend a lot of time trying to raise money for us. But come awards time, you know, I want to give scholarships to staff. We don't have any money for it, so I just contact our suppliers.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, we were able to give away $14,000 in scholarships.
It's awesome.
And we invited the suppliers, and they just fell in love with the event, the presentation event, and what we are, they're now doing blogs on us and advertising us all over the place through their channels. So they don't know yet, but I'm going to go back to them now. You know, I challenge my aged care colleagues, you know, when they've got no money, just like we've got no money. You know, you've got suppliers, you know, you're paying them on time. Because not everybody is. And if you're paying them on time, don't hesitate to ask for support. And they're falling over themselves to want to be attached to what we're doing.
And I think the struggle to find and understand and identify ways in which they can give. So when you bring solutions in a way that's, and it's sort of our second thought, we're like, oh, we'll just take that and we'll just take that and we'll call them a year later, and you know. So that maintain and care plan is really important to keep those relationships. So Newcastle Permanent Charitable Foundation with Jason, I first met him when I was at Canteen, so that was 2004. Leukemia Foundation, I got the $20,000 for the employee benefit relationship, and then when I was at Royal Institute for Deaf and Blind Children, it was $250,000. So 10 years, you know, there was a 7-8 year gap, but it just builds, and I think that's the thing. Whereas, especially regionally, it's about those relationships. It's about those things that we're trying to work out. But
a really good point. When you're looking at that donor care plan, often organisations focus on their big donors, their big annual donors, but you'll have a group of people that have been giving, you know, significant enough amount. They mightn't be classified as a big donor, but it's been going on for 10 or 15 years, and it's those cups of coffee or a little gift or whatever it is, that connection that then changes that outcome in the end. So.
And it's not, you can like say, okay, I'm going to do 25 donors over, you know, every fortnight. Go and, you know, call a donor, see if they want to visit. But even calling them, because it depends on what they want, on how much they want to build that relationship with you, because they might not want anything. No, don't call me, I'm fine, love. Okay, well, just letting you know I'm really grateful. Thanks, see ya. You know, oh, I'd love it. You know, some of them are lonely and all that. That's the order, but there's different types of relationships. But it is about that.
Done. Isn't that fun? There you go.
That's it. Thank you. So I'm really excited about the last two for the end of the year. Next month is the Hannah Corporate Collaborative. So Amy Tribe, Anne Long, Craig Stradwick, Trudy Lanark are coming in, and we're going to talk about the collaboration and what they needed and the issues that they had from a corporate perspective. And Kylie is coming too. She's on the panel. So that's going to be really exciting. And then the one after that is conflict management. So I've got Interrelate coming in to talk about conflict resolution, conflict management, because it's an issue, I think, being able to have those conversations and communication. Planners are available if anyone wants them. If you haven't seen them, they're up the back. If you have to buy them here, I've decided from now on, if you buy them at the breakfast, they're $45, whereas if you buy them online, they're $55. Because I don't have to pay postage. So that's really what, you know, saves me, saves you. And we've got some workshops coming up, so planning workshops if you want to set your year up. I did that with you, didn't I, Viv?
Yes.
How was it? What did you like about it?
Well, we've got everyone, there's people from all across the organisation, and it just really got everybody engaged, being on the same page, realising everybody was as busy as each other, and that we could share and carry the load together, and it was great, and they all got diaries, and it was fabulous.
Yeah. So it's called 2020 Set Go. Get it? I'm so funny. That's my dad joke, but I promised you that I've really just got filter now. So there's 3 workshops, October, November, December. If you want to do it, or you can do it in-house for yourself. So we do reflection, and then we set out years. You set your full year out, but then focus on your first 90 days. And then do a bit of personal development. Make sure you're looking after yourself. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you next Well,
Yay.